WBSM presents The Ken Pittman Show. Streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Now, Ken Pittman.
Although it's not Ken Pittman today, you're stuck with me again. I know. You say, I got to hear this guy enough during the week. Now I got to hear him on Saturday too. But yeah, just this once. Ken's got a gig this weekend, and Paul and Tom Hodgson, they've got other things going on. So I said, you know what? I'll just come in. There's a lot that we can talk about. And of course, it won't be the usual Ken Pittman show. We can talk a little sports, but I don't follow it as much as I used to in the past. Excited for the Celtics Heat first round playoff matchup, although I was hoping they would not draw the Heat because that's going to be a tough series for them right out of the gate. But I'll probably watch as many of those games as I can. Now that I get up early, it's a little bit harder. But I'll try and watch. Since I have changed my schedule and no longer write about sports, I just don't pay as much attention to it anymore. I try to catch things where I can, but just it's rough when games start at 8 o'clock at night and you're getting up at 4. One of the things that I do want to talk about here right out of the gate, because there's still a few slots open if you are interested, the free clothing repair day is still going on today, even though it's a little bit misty out and foggy. It's not downpouring. So according to the Greater New Bedford Regional Refuse Management District website, it is still going on, and they actually still have a couple of spots available. So what's that all about? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play my discussion from yesterday with Meg Hebert about it. It's just a few minutes long, but you'll hear us reference tomorrow, but it's actually today. So there's still a few spots available if you're interested, but here's what it's all about. Monday is Earth Day, and what a better weekend, better weekend than this one to start looking into ways that we can reduce and reuse things. And one of the ways that you can do that is by either recycling clothing for other people that can use it or getting it repaired with free clothing repair day. And to talk more about that, we have joining us on the line Meg Hebert. She is the waste reduction coordinator for the Greater New Bedford Regional Refuse Management District, and she joins us now. Good morning, Meg. How are you? Oh, hang on. I didn't press that right. There we go, Meg. Now I got you on the line.
Hi, good morning, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing all right. And this is something that we've been talking about this throughout the course of the morning. And I've been getting some app chat messages from people who say, I want to have clothes mended. I don't want to just be somebody that throws something away because it has a little hole in it or a tear or maybe the collar is worn out. I think that we live in a society, and I know that the Refuse Management District does all it can to move people away from this, but we live in a society where people think too much about how disposable things are.
Absolutely agree with you. Yep, we're always working at any waste reduction actions that we can take. So we have this cool clothing repair day happening, and it is at the Buttonwood Park Zoo. It is the Party for the Planet Day as well. And so it's April 20th, 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So say someone has a winter jacket and the next person in the family could wear it, except they just can't get that zipper fixed. This is the perfect opportunity for New Bedford and Dartmouth residents to get that zipper fixed and get that coat in use. So extend its life so it does not land in the landfill, and it keeps it local too. So it's a really great opportunity.
And the good thing about this is these are services that if you drop that, say you want to have that jacket brought to a tailor and had that repaired, it can get pretty expensive to get some of these things, and especially things like a zipper replacement. You know, you could be looking at almost what you might have paid for that jacket that you love so much. So this is an opportunity to come down and have this done by a professional tailor.
That's right. And we are so lucky to have these talented tailors right here. We've got Claudia from Bushwood Tailors Opportunity Shop. We've got menders from Maypole Weavers and Dufali Design. So we're so lucky. I know it. I mean, it's just this really cool win-win situation.
And so, of course, people have to be a resident of New Bedford or Dartmouth to take part in this. And you are asking people to sign up ahead of time and that you're not taking walk-ins for this.
That is correct. So to help the event move along smoothly, we do have a sign-up. So people can Google New Bedford Refuse District. And so on our website, you would then select either the New Bedford or the Dartmouth tab. You go to the menu. So if you're on, say, a mobile device, you'd hit menu. You'd pick either New Bedford Recycling or Dartmouth Recycling. You scroll down, and near the bottom, you'll find calendar of events, and Clothing Repair Day is listed on there. And so you'll see there is a sign up. And then in the notes, if you could put any notes about your repair. So like you mentioned the zipper, that's a really common repair that needs to be done. If someone could list the size, the type of zipper, as much details as they can, that would help everyone will do the best they can. The menders will do the best they can to have the zippers that are needed. But of course you can't have every single type of zipper. But we're lucky, too, that these tailors are in the community. So, give this day a try. And then if folks need other mending done, these tailors are in the area. So that is also great. People just need to sign up so that we have it all organized. And also just to mention, I've been noticing there is some rain prediction. So there is a rain date, which is the 27th. So just the following week. So I would also just keep an eye on that. Would go to the district's website to check on that.
And it would be the same time and still be at Buttonwood Park Zoo?
Yes. Yep.
So one thing that caught my eye on this as you're talking about it, first of all, we should point out too, it's up to 2 items can be mended per household. But we talked about the zippers and button replacement, mending holes, but it talks here about reversing shirt collars. What's that all about? Because I have a lot of shirts that I don't wear anymore because I don't like the way the collar looks.
I know. Thanks for bringing that up. This is a new repair to me. I didn't know about this, but yeah, if a collar is worn or stained, these awesome menders can turn that around for you and then make the shirt very wearable again. So I agree. That's a super cool option. And actually, Claudia was mentioning they could also fix hems that have come undone. So yeah, a lot of great repairs.
Wow, that's a lot that can be done. But the other part of this, too, is, we've talked a lot as the new laws have kicked in, and you can't just throw clothes away anymore. And not that, people really should have in the past anyway if they were wearable, but, there were things that you might not ever wear again, might not be able to mend or repair, but now they're saying that you can't just put it in the trash. There has to be other uses for it. And you're actually taking and collecting worn-out textiles and clothing as part of this day.
That is correct, yes. And so the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection does ban clothing from disposal since there are better options for that. So as you mentioned, yes, we even if you don't want to get something fixed, if you want to just donate your textiles, that can happen tomorrow or at any clothing bin that's throughout the cities or the towns or thrift stores. Donated textiles do need to be clean and dry, but even if they are stained or ripped, they can be turned into wiping cloths, carpet padding, or insulation. So there's always a better use for these items. And just to mention, textiles are items such as clothing, shoes, bedding, towels, and similar fabric products like bags and even stuffed animals. So a lot of different textiles out there in the world that can be put to better use than being thrown away.
Absolutely. And, the more that you have these laying around your house and you think to yourself, oh, well, I'll get to that eventually. I'll get that fixed. I'll get that repaired. You're not going to do it. And then you're going to be trying to find a place where you can drop it off. Why not just bring it tomorrow as part of this event? So it makes it a lot easier. So again, this is happening tomorrow from 10:30 to 2:30 at Buttonwood Park Zoo. It'll be moved to next Saturday in case of rain. And you do have to pre-register, and you can bring up to 2 items to be mended. So and you have to be a New Bedford or Dartmouth resident, of course, because this is put on by the Refuse District.
That is correct. Yep, those are our member communities, and we're doing the very best we can to extend the life of the landfill so that New Bedford and Dartmouth has a place for the things that we cannot find any other options for. So just the regular trash. So we greatly appreciate you helping us get the word out about this, Tim. Thanks so much.
Oh, no problem, and definitely keep us up to date with everything. And of course, we want to support all these efforts to not only extend the landfill, but also to help people repair their clothes so they can keep wearing them.
Absolutely. Thanks,
right.
Tim.
Thanks, Meg. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
And so there you go. That was from yesterday. So it is happening today. It is going on right now. And, well, actually, it starts at 10:30, but it is happening today. And on the website, they still have a few spots available if you would like to take advantage of those. So the 1:30 to 1:50 p.m. time slot has only one of 3 slots filled. So there's the opportunity for 2 people to get in there to have up to 2 items mended per household from 1:30 to 1:50. And then in the 1:50 to 2:10 time slot, all 3 of the available slots are open. So there's 5 opportunities there between 1:30 and 2:10. And then they have all 3 slots filled from 2:10 to 2:30, so it's not like they're going to leave early. So if you want to jump on the website now and enter in all that information, you can do that. We have it linked up in a story at WBSM.com and on the WBSM app to make it even easier. So if you just go to that story there, scroll down a little bit, you'll see where it says you have to sign up ahead of time, and you can click on that, and that will bring you right over to the page to do so. And then you can pick whether you want to go between 1:30 and 1:50 or 1:50 and 2:10. So take advantage of that opportunity. I actually went through some of my clothes last night when I got home and said, is there anything not that I need to have repaired necessarily, because like I knew slots were filling up and I'm not going to have time to get over there, but was there anything that I would want to put into one of those bins to have it be taken for cloths, for insulation, for all different types of purposes? But I didn't know. I heard Meg mention it there in the interview, and when I listened back yesterday to transcribe it for the story, I heard it, but I guess I didn't pick it up in the moment that she said that you could put those in the bins, because people were calling and asking about that. Can I put stained and ripped clothing into the donation bins? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. Those organizations that take clothing will separate those out, and we'll get those off to the right people. As a caller later on in the morning yesterday called in and mentioned that they'll take those up and they'll put them together in large bales, and then they sell them off to the companies that use them, and then that money helps to go toward those charitable endeavors of the people who are collecting those clothes. So, Savers doesn't want your ripped and stained clothing, but you can drop it off at any of the donation bins that go to the different nonprofit organizations. Now, some people don't like bringing clothes to a place like Savers. They'd rather give them to people who are going to organizations that are going to put them right on somebody's back, that are going to donate them to people that don't have any clothes. It's all up to you and what you prefer to do. I take my clothes as I guess some of you probably might not listen during the week, so you might not be familiar, but I started last summer. I went on Mounjaro, one of those weight loss drugs. And I was diabetic. I had weighed the most I had ever weighed, or right around the most I had ever weighed, a few pounds off. But I just felt terrible. I felt lethargic. And I was having more and more health issues. So I said, I've got to do something about weight loss. And I just happened to have a doctor on from SouthCoast Health on the morning show as we were discussing bariatric surgery. And I've known for a long time that bariatric surgery was something that I was not interested in doing. That before I went through such a major physiological change to my body, I would want to exhaust every effort I could to do things more naturally. And so while we were having that discussion on the air, the doctor just happened to mention the SouthCoast Health Medical Weight Loss Program for people that are opposed to bariatric surgery. So I called my doctor and I looked into it and ended up signing up for the program. I had a class that I had to take with a nutritionist. It's kind of an introductory thing that everybody does that goes on this medical weight loss program. That was fine. It was like an hour PowerPoint presentation type thing. And then it took weeks, actually a couple of months, to get my appointment with the doctor from the program. But when I did, it was a 15-minute telehealth call, and she prescribed me Mounjaro, which is like Ozempic. It's just the Eli Lilly version of Ozempic. And at the time, they didn't have the weight loss version, Wegovy, like they have. I'm sorry, Zepbound, like they have now. Wegovy is the weight loss version of Ozempic. And so the only way that I was able to get approved by my health insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, was because I am also diabetic. I found that out in 2020. I just take metformin every day. I don't have to check my blood sugar every day. I just eat a low-carb diet as much as I can, which is part of the Mounjaro plan anyway. So, I figured this is probably going to work out. And since July of last year, I've lost about 80 pounds. I've kind of plateaued a little bit right now, but I have an appointment next week with the medical weight loss doctor, and we'll talk about that. And maybe this is it. Maybe this is as much as I'm going to lose utilizing this plan. Maybe I need to be even more drastic with my diet and exercise. But I've comfortably lost 80 pounds, and I'm no longer food obsessed. So anyway, all that being said, I have gone down a number of sizes. I went from wearing, a 4X shirt and a size 46 to 48 pants to now I am in a 36 pants, 38 pants. I like a little comfort. I don't like it to be tight. So a 38 pants and an extra large shirt. But this isn't from one to the other. I got to maybe the fall, and I realized all my clothes were starting to be way too big on me, and I had to go out, and I do paranormal lectures at libraries all through September and October, and I didn't want to stand up in front of a group of people looking like an idiot in clothes that were too big. So I started going out and getting clothes. And by doing so, I've been trying to do it at thrift shops, secondhand stores, consignment shops, whatever I could do to save a little money, because I knew I was going to be going down another size or two again. So I would go to Gifts to Give. That was recommended to me by a caller. And I find fantastic clothes there, very cheap, $4 for a pair of pants, $4 for a shirt for the most part. And then I can take all the clothes that I've outgrown and I can donate them right there. So, once a month I might go through the clothes and say, okay, this is too big now, this is too big. I bought this and I didn't like it, whatever it might be. And then I can bring those clothes down and donate those and then walk in and see if there's anything else. And that's kind of the system that I've been using here. And eventually, if I hit my target weight and that's where I'm going to stay, then I'll go back to just buying clothes in the store. But there's still great deals, and it's still worth checking out. And so that's why I like to bring my clothes there, because not only can they resell them for money for their program, but they also take a lot of what's donated and put it directly on people that need clothes. So you can do that today. You can bring your clothes down to be mended. There's still a few spots open. You can find the link in the story at WBSM.com and on the WBSM app. And get that zipper fixed, finally. It's funny because I actually gave away a jacket in the summertime, wintertime, a nice leather jacket. And I said, I don't know if I want to give this jacket away. It's one of the few jackets I have where the zipper still works. But I went to somebody that could really use it, and hopefully I'm never going to need it again. It was a 4X. But zippers, you have a jacket you love, and then the zipper goes bad, and then you find out it's $40, $50 to replace the zipper, and you say, well, what's the point? Just buy another jacket. But now you can get that jacket, that zipper fixed. You can get that shirt fixed. You can get that pair of pants fixed. I had never even heard of reversing collars on shirts, but that's something that can be done. And I was saying yesterday, I get the collars that will start to curl out. No matter how many times I try to iron them down, they curl out. They can reverse that. So then they'll curl down and won't look nearly as weird. Anyway, so if you do go out and get your clothes mended, call back on Monday and let me know what the experience was like. 508-996-0500. I also have app chat open on the WBSM app if you want to send that in. I know there were some issues with the app not broadcasting the live stream earlier. That should be fixed now. I can't listen while I'm talking on the air, but let me know if it's not. There was just an issue with the computer here that once we cleared that up, that should have got everything back on track. Sometimes when things get out of whack with this computer, it fails to send the audio over to the app. But hopefully it's working again now. You can let me know on app chat. And then also, you can always send open line voicemail messages when I'm on the air too, which is where you can open up the WBSM app. You can record what you want to say and send it over, and then I can play it. So it's a great option if you're about to go into the store and you can't wait on hold, or if you're taking care of the kids this morning and they're being rambunctious and you got to run away for a few minutes to say what you want to say, but you're not sure you can stay very long. That gets you a chance to say your piece and send it on over, and we can play it, and you get it uninterrupted. So I'm not going to cut you off. All right, 508-996-0500. Going to take the first break and be back in a few moments. Yeah, turn it up. Hey, turn up the radio, right? That's what Autograph tells us. And you should be turning up the radio throughout the course of the week, especially when you hear the cash code playing. You're not familiar with the cash code? Maybe you're just a weekend listener? Well, let me tell you, we've got this going on Monday through Friday. And 10 times a day, this is the final week coming up. So this is your last 5 days to try to win cash on WBSM. We're giving away free cash just for listening. But you have to hear the codes and enter them at WBSM.com or on the WBSM app. So what happens is at 8 o'clock we start it, and it goes through the 5 p.m. hour. It's 10 opportunities every day, 10 codes, one every hour. And when you hear that code, you enter it at WBSM.com or on the WBSM app on the Win Cash page. And each time you hear that code and enter it in, you are entered into the hourly drawing for $100 cash. But then each one of those is also an entry for the $30,000 grand prize. Plus, if you go to the Win Cash page on WBSM or on the WBSM app, there's a few extra little ways to earn some bonus entries. Liking us on Facebook, following us on Twitter, all things like that. Those will all earn you some bonus entries. So check out Win Cash at WBSM.com or on the WBSM app. Win Cash on WBSM is brought to you by Architect Managed IT Services. So we like to reward people just for listening to the radio. And on my show, we give away a lot of tickets to concerts and comedy shows and things like that. So we'll have a ton of tickets that we're going to be giving away throughout the course of the spring and summer. So you're going to want to tune in to me if you don't listen each weekday, and then stay tuned to WBSM.com because that's where we announce all of these contests. So we were talking about clothes and saving money, and I got an app chat message from Not the Other Dan in New Bedford who says, check out the app, and I don't know if it's Sheen or Shine, but, Shein. I spent on average less than $20 an outfit. I got a shirt, really nice, pair of shorts, really nice, $16. So check this place out. It takes about 2 weeks to get there once you order. So I've heard from people who have ordered from that site, and they've had great experiences with it. I've also heard from some other people who have said that the sizing isn't great, that they order what they think is their size and it doesn't come in the right size. But that's the risk that you take with a lot of online ordering, especially if you're somebody like me where, yeah, I'm in an XL, but not every XL fits the way that I want a shirt to fit. The other problem is I think I'm definitely suffering from some body dysmorphia here where I'll put a shirt on and everybody will tell me, no, that's fine. That should be the size you're wearing. And I'm like, no, it's too small. No, it's fine. It's fine. And so that still happens to some degree. But one of the things that I know is that Amazon has a policy for a lot of clothing where you can buy it, try it out. And this is if you're buying it, through Amazon. It doesn't have to be the Amazon Essentials line of clothes. But if you are buying the clothes through Amazon, you can take it home and you have like a week to try it out and send it back in case it doesn't fit. I was going to buy a pair of sneakers, but it wasn't a brand that I currently wear, so I didn't know what size I would be in that brand. It was actually British Knights, those late 80s, early 90s sneakers. And I was like, oh, British Knights are back. I'm going to get a pair just for the fun nostalgia value of it. And then I read a lot of reviews of them that weren't so kind. And I bought a pair of LA Gear sneakers, and they're not great. So imagine the British Knights are not that different. But I saw on Amazon they had a 7-day return policy so that if you got them and you put them on, you didn't like them, you could send them back. So that's helpful as people are trying to make their lives easier by buying things online. But I like going there and looking at it and checking it out and seeing if it's something that I would want to wear. Anyway, 508-996-0500. It's also, of course, 420 today. I saw that, I didn't get to see it personally, but I saw a lot of people posting it on social media that in recognition of today, Basque had a very interesting, Basque here in Fairhaven, the retail cannabis location in Fairhaven, had a very interesting little bit of marketing out front. They had a van that it was all smoked up. It was a hot boxing van on the front lawn of Basque. And everybody was sharing photos and videos of it on social media, so that it certainly worked in getting attention and getting buzz. But this is the day, 420, that a lot of people, even those that don't normally partake in cannabis, will do so. I'm not somebody that does it. I have. It's not something that I particularly like, but that's okay if it's something that you like, as long as you use it responsibly. And I said years ago, when I was on Saturday mornings and they were in the process of trying to legalize it, and I said, listen, I'm all for it because people do it anyway. Why not make tax revenue off of it? And it has been, I would say, a success. The road is not full of pot-addled zombies like everybody feared that it would be. I mean, it's no worse than it was before, I don't think. But then again, I also can't drive down the road without smelling it coming from cars, which, by the way, is still illegal. So the doom and gloom predictions haven't come to fruition. But also the massive revenue windfall hasn't come to fruition either, because a lot of communities were slow to get on the ball with it. New Bedford especially. New Bedford did more than its due diligence, in my opinion, in welcoming in retail cannabis sales. But now they've gotten past that point. The moratorium is over. Ascend opened up. I think there's some other ones that are opening up. So it's become just part of the landscape of the community, which is what I was predicting would happen, and a lot of others were predicting. It'd be no different than the liquor store, although not as ubiquitous. So if you are somebody that wants to partake in celebrating today, or whether it's something that you do every day, as long as you're doing it responsibly, that's your business. The same reason why I would have been against prohibition. Adults who want to do adult things responsibly, let them do it. So if you do decide to do it, well, then I can make some recommendations for you. I brought this up the other day during the eclipse when I said that was a good day to do Dark Side of Oz. I can tell you, the time that I did that was one of the first times I ever tried marijuana. And it definitely added to the effect. And if you're not as familiar with Dark Side of Oz, I'm so stupid. I went on the air on the morning of the eclipse and told everybody, okay, here's what you do. You take Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album. You get that ready to go. Then you put on The Wizard of Oz. When the third lion roars at the beginning of the movie, when the lion roars for the third time at the beginning of the movie, the MGM lion, Leo the lion, and the title card there, when he roars for the third time, that's when you want to hit play or drop the needle on Dark Side of the Moon. And then it's going to sync up with the lyrics will sync up with what's going on the screen, which Pink Floyd swears isn't the case, but, it could be confirmation bias where you think it's supposed to, so you make it seem like it does. Like when a radio station tells you, make sure you tune into us during the fireworks. We're going to have music that's synchronized to the fireworks. It's not really. They just play it and it sounds like it's synchronized. Because it's a 4/4 beat most of the time for the music, so it's going to happen. And it's like when I was making football highlight videos for my classmates in high school as part of my AV grade. They had to make highlight videos to send to colleges, and we'd put music on it. Myself and my friend Christian, we were putting all these videos together, and they'd be like, I love how you synced it up to the music. Like, no, we didn't. We did. That's exactly what we meant to do, but it's just coincidence. But so here I am telling people how to make Dark Side of Oz happen. Not even thinking to myself, it's 2024. You can just go on YouTube and type in Dark Side of Oz, and somebody's already done the work for you. Somebody's already synced it up, and you can just watch it and listen to it and enjoy it that way. It kind of takes away some of the magic, though. It takes it like when me and my friends wanted to do it that night that we did it, we had to go out and get a copy of Dark Side of the Moon, and then it's like, do we do CD? Do we do record? Or like, what do we do? Actually, we didn't do record. Nobody had records at that time. But we were like, do we do a CD? Do we do a cassette? Let's do a CD, then we don't have to flip it over. Okay. Now we've got to get a copy of Wizard of Oz. So imagine what it looks like when, 3 guys, 19 years old, walk into Hollywood Video and the only movie they rent is The Wizard of Oz. Like, somebody either thinks you're really, suffering from arrested development, or you're doing Dark Side of Oz. So that's something you could do today if you want to observe 420. 508-996-0500. Send those app chat messages on the WBSM app. We're also, another thing that I thought we could discuss today is there's been some animal issues in recent weeks. Wild animal issues. Animals that are roaming into neighborhoods. And I'm going to start this with the caveat of saying right off the bat, they live here too. We have to live in harmony with these wild animals. However, there are situations where it can get a little bit out of control. Now, last year we had the Summer of Bears here on the South Coast, and there's predictions that there could be even more bear sightings and encounters in 2024. It's early in the season yet. The bears are just waking up, foraging around for food. They haven't gotten into the mating patterns yet, or maybe this is when they start to this week, late April. But the Mass Wildlife was telling us last year that the reason why we were seeing bears on the South Coast was that it was one bear. That one bear had kind of wandered down from Western Mass looking for a mate. Then it became obvious over time that there was more than one bear. This bear couldn't be seen in as much as bears can get around, and they can move. They can do 30 miles at a clip. But when somebody's seeing a bear in Westport and then also seeing a bear in Plymouth within hours of each other, that's not the same bear. And, I just picked those places out of a hat. But there were instances where there were sightings close together at a time that the bear couldn't have gone from one location to the other unless somebody was giving him a ride, and there's not a lot of vehicles that can cart a bear around. So then Mass Wildlife, kind of admitted, all right, we think there's more than one bear, but we don't think that they're here to stay. Well, it seems like this year there were bears that actually did hibernate down here. And all it takes is a male and a female in this area, and we are going to start to have more and more bears. But we've got to get used to living with them like they have in other parts of even Massachusetts. And that means that we've got to bear-proof our yards and our homes. That means covering over your garbage bins and making them so that they can't be opened. Bears are pretty smart. So they can open up a barrel. If you have one that's latched, it's harder for them. They don't have opposable thumbs. They will eat any bird feed that you leave out. So a lot of folks have those those benches on their decks that you lift up the bench and you can keep all the outdoor stuff in there, and they'll put bird seed in there. And we saw last year, I think it was in Marion, bear walked right up onto the porch, opened that thing up, and ate all of the bird seed. 50-pound bag. I think he actually took off with it because he left a trail of bird seed behind him. So they will get into all of those things. And if you go to the Mass Wildlife website, they have a whole list of things to suggest to avoid having bears come into your yard. But the important thing to remember is if you do see one, as cute as they are, you don't want to approach it. You don't want to get close. You don't want to try to touch it. You don't want to try to pet it. It's not your friend. And it may look docile, but it can turn on a dime. These are not Clark's bears. This is not Gentle Ben. This bear will do some serious damage to you or your pets. And he won't feel guilty about it. The other thing about it, too, is if they come to your yard, like I said, they're smart. They're going to know that your yard was the place where they got food. And they will come back. And while it might be fun to have a bear in your yard once, oh, look, everybody, the bear's outside. Look out the window. Yeah, look, there's the bear. It might get annoying eventually when you want to leave the house, but the bear is outside and you can't leave. If the bear does approach you or is coming close to you or coming into the yard and you've got your pet out or whatever, make a lot of noise. Don't square up with the bear because the bear is going to win. But make a lot of noise and the bear will just be like, nah, screw this, and turn around and walk away. But the bears have already been spotted on the South Coast this year. The bears have already been spotted in Rhode Island. There's a story, ABC 6. There was a bear in Coventry. And while that's a little bit further out, there's been multiple bear sightings already. We might have to bring back the old bear tracker from last year. And we will. We'll let you know. Although eventually it's going to get to the point where we say, when people say, oh, there's a bear. How come you guys didn't write a story on the bear? Well, because eventually they'll be everywhere. But for now, it's still a bit of an anomaly, and it's still something people are interested in, and we still need to really spread the word about how people should deal with bear encounters. 508-996-0500. Going to take a break and be back in a few moments. As far as I know, the only 80s music video to feature Milton Berle, Rats Round and Round. All right, so we will be heading into the news in just a moment. When we come back on the other side, we'll talk with you, 508-996-0500. We'll talk more animals, because bears aren't the only ones that are out there right now to be concerned about. There's a pack of coyotes that are causing trouble in a Quincy neighborhood and getting more aggressive. So we'll talk about that. And, of course, I'd like to hear your animal calls, 508-996-0500. Also, a little bit later on, maybe I'll play this great interview I did earlier this week with Dr. Sabina Stanley about what's inside planets. I still have it here on the computer, and it was a fascinating discussion, and maybe that'll be a good Saturday morning conversation, especially for you folks who are partaking in 420 and your mind is expanding right now. We can play that interview, and you can think about the possibility of life on other worlds. Not aliens, but actual, plant life and fauna and sea life and things like that. So we'll talk more when we come back. Right now, though, we're going to go into the ABC News.
WBSM and W258DR, New Bedford, a Town Square media station.